So the number 5 thing that I learned from Microsoft in 2015 is that they're still selling a program, the enterprise agreement, not value. And you know, I always say you can't make these things up. But we recently were working with a client. They're not in an enterprise agreement. They just buy through the Select or the MPSA program, sorry. But they are actually starting to consider things like Office 365, and they actually had some strategic plans around potentially looking at dynamic CRM versus a Salesforce implementation. And so I said to the CIO, I said, let's have some fun with Microsoft. I said, ask them what a strategic relationship means to them, because we know what it means to you. It means, you know, revitalizing your infrastructure, moving you guys off of an old Exchange platform, doing some things around sales automation and things of that nature, which are very strategic to you. But let's ask them what they think is a strategic relationship to them. And the answer, you sign an enterprise agreement. So, like I said, you can't make this stuff up. You know, it was nothing to do with the business value that Microsoft could bring to the organization. It wasn't anything to do with modernizing. It wasn't anything to do with moving to the cloud. It wasn't even doing the sales enablement project that was very strategic to the organization. It was, you sell an enterprise agreement. And so, you know, another story that I like to tell is that if you look at an EA, what is it? Let's just take a simple one. Let's just say I have Office only in my EA, just to keep this easy. So, what is it that I get? I get Office, I get software assurance, therefore during the 3 years I get upgrade rights to new versions as they're released. I get a nice, maybe a little bit of a price break over buying license and software assurance on Select, and I get the ability to do true ups on an annual basis versus Select, where it's I got to buy on a monthly basis. Won't get into any of the got to license all your devices, where Select you can only put Office or purchase Office for subsets or things like that. So we won't get into any of the complexities there. But if you look at it on the surface, they're really the same thing with one difference: a true up, an annual true up versus monthly purchases. And so let's just say there's 2 new sales reps, John and Mary. Mary and John join the company at the same time. Mary goes out and she happens to find a brand new 5,000 person organization that opened their doors, and she goes and sells them an enterprise agreement for Office for 5,000 users. John also found a brand new 5,000 person company, but he sold them a Select LNSA. So at the end of the day, what's the difference? Both of them have software assurance. Both of them have the ability to get the current product as it's released. Both of them sold 5,000 licenses. In fact, I'd probably say John's a little bit better sales rep because he got a higher price, because we know the EA's discounted a little bit. But internally at Microsoft, they don't like that. And John's actually perceived to not have done his job because he didn't sell an enterprise agreement. Whereas Mary is a hero for selling that enterprise agreement. So they really think of everything about the EA. And the reality is, why do they do that? They like their recurring revenue. They know that they get a third each year for the 3 years. You know, so if you sign up for $1 million a year, they've got $1 million. As you grow, they get their true ups. But the key thing is that they know that their renewal rates are probably double on the enterprise agreement than they are on the Select agreement. So in other words, half of the people that would renew an EA would not renew on Select. And so that's a huge hit to their revenue if people aren't renewing. And the other piece is, quite honestly, if we go back to, I think it was tip number 3 about it's all about Microsoft, they know that they can get you to buy stuff. You know, if you think about it, over the years, what have they done? We went from the Core Cal to the eCal, and they came in and convinced you that if you buy the eCal, you save 50% off on the price of the individual components versus the Core Cal. You may not have needed it, but hey, it sounded great and you bought it in the EA, and it may have taken you 4 or 5 years to start using those features, but man, did it ever sound good when they sold it to you, that 50% off. So they know that they can use that program to sell you the stuff that they want to sell you. And so when we talk about, go back to preparing and that bottom-up approach that we talked about, these are key, because what we can do is we can take a look at, is the EA the right program for you? Now, at the end of the day, it probably is. There's lots of benefits to this program, but there are other ways to buy. And if we do a bottom-up build, and we throw Microsoft off the game and say we don't need an EA, we only need Select or the MPSA program and these products, it's really going to throw them off their game, because they see nothing but an enterprise agreement. So the number 5 tip that I learned in 2015 from Microsoft is They're still selling you a program, the EA, and not value.